Welcome back to the Art of Football 365. This is episode 65. Uh, Not that I really wanted to record this week after the humiliating Dallas Cowboys loss this past Sunday. It was relatively tough for me to swallow that loss and kind of have the season come to a close that early. However, Gannon convinced me to do another playoff prediction episode, so that's what we're going to be doing today. But before that, Gronk spike the subscribe button for us. Leave a like, leave a comment. Like we always say, we appreciate the feedback. We appreciate you guys interacting with us. It helps us grow. It helps you guys grow. We all learn together. So stay on that mission with us. We appreciate it very much. But now, this week, we got 4 games in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs in 2022. So, you want to get right into this, Gannon?
Yeah, I'll start it off.
All right.
No, first, just back to the playoff thing. I mean, I just thought it was right to do it because we had a little fun with it. It's a good little football talk just to break down the playoffs. There's some good matchups. Biggest thing about this is we finally got some of the blowout wins out of the way this last week. Some of the football games weren't good. This is more like Aaron Rodgers called big boy football. It's the final 8 teams in the NFL across both divisions, and they're all good. All these matchups. We're gonna go with the first one. It's Saturday at 3:30 on CBS. It's the Bengals traveling to Tennessee to play the Titans. Titans had the first round bye. Bengals got the win against the Raiders. This is going to be a really interesting game because I think the Titans are really slept on. Nobody even really talks about them. They got the 1 seed. People kind of forgot about them. It's a lot of Mahomes and Allen talk with their matchup coming up this week. I'm looking for a big day out of the Titans. I just really think they're sneaky and they got a chance to really shake up this AFC. Obviously, they're the 1 seed, but the AFC has just been a wash completely as a division or as a conference this year. But it's going to be interesting to see. Burrow didn't show as much as I thought he was going to throw it on against the Raiders last week. I was hoping him to run it up a little bit more. And they kind of relied on McPherson, their kicker, to kind of just kick some field goals and keep that game in reach when it really didn't feel like it. They're going to do that. If they do that this week against the Titans, I think the Titans will beat them. You're going to have to score a lot of touchdowns. It's a road game for Burrow.
Is Derrick Henry playing this week?
That's not official. I think it's going to be a game time thing, but that's going to be my next point. He just cleared his his first contact practice back from his injury, which is huge because to get cleared, it's Wednesday. He's still got half a week to get ready for this game, or 3 days because it's an early one.
Mm-hmm.
If he goes at all, though, that's just a huge factor back for the Titans. Sure. That if they got him even at half strength to 3/4 strength, he's better than almost every other back in the league, even at that. So if they get that weapon back, plus with A.J. Brown and Julio Jones, I really think the Titans are going to make a statement here. Mike Vrabel is one of the best coaches in the NFL who doesn't get the credit, in my opinion. It's a lot for the Bengals, and I think it's going to be a lot for these young guys to swallow going on the road. It's going to be a lot for them to handle, in my opinion. So I'm personally going with the Titans in this game.
Okay. Before I give my pick and I go over kind of what I think will happen throughout this game, I want to revisit what we picked last week. Gannon and I talked about this a little bit before we recorded with kind of our record. So
just a little running total.
Yeah, so what we have so far. I did not get the Cowboys game right. I did not get the New England game right. What was the other one?
Cardinals. No, you picked the Rams.
I think I picked
No, you picked the Cardinals with me, right? You picked the Cardinals with me.
All right, so I'm 3-3.
Those are the 3. You're 3-3, and then I'm 4-2 because I lost the Cowboys because I picked the Cowboys and I picked the Cardinals.
All right, so Gannon right now currently sits at 4-2. I'm 3-3 after a week of playoffs. Just keep that in mind for how we do this week, and we'll see who ends up having the most games right at the end of the playoffs when it comes down to the Super Bowl and all that fun. But my thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals at the Tennessee Titans game. Titans coming off a bye. So my thing with bye weeks is for them to have a bye week, honestly, Tennessee's not the Green Bay Packers in my opinion. I don't think they're at that stature yet. I think they kind of showed inconsistency a little bit. I've mentioned inconsistency quite a bit with some of these teams in the league this year. Yeah, I mean, in general, yeah. When it comes down to that. But, I just don't truly know if Tennessee is that team yet. I don't know if they can beat the Kansas City Chiefs yet. Obviously, they're playing the Bengals in this matchup, and the Bengals have been on a tear kind of as of lately. playing with confidence, playing with swagger, not necessarily blowing teams out, but they're on a mission and they got guys that are all in right now. And
They
you
got
can kind
nothing
of
to
just
lose
see
with the
it.
young guys. They got nothing to lose. Those guys are playing with
Exactly.
house money.
Yeah. So I'm gonna switch it up, try to get a game back ahead of you, and go with the Cincinnati Bengals here. Um, I think it could go either way. Honestly, I think this should be a good matchup. I know last week, like you said, we did not get to see many good playoff matchups. The games just weren't that good. Um, Blowout wins, just teams that didn't come prepared. The Dallas Cowboys. Um, it was a rough week of the playoffs, to be completely honest with you. Not really fun to watch. Let's hope that these games are. I'm going with the Bengals. Joe Burrow is going to have a game. Jamar Chase is practically unguardable at this point. It's just throw and catch with him and Joey. So let's hope that
It's gonna be a
happens.
good one.
It should be. Derrick Henry, if he comes back, that's going to be huge for them, obviously, like you mentioned. Um, I could see this game. This game's really a coin toss for me, but I'm going with Cincinnati Bengals. So now we can move on to a game that I know you want to talk about, which is the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Wisconsin to take on the Green Bay Packers. Um, I'm going to let you lay it all out first because I don't know if you'll like my thoughts.
No, I mean, I understand that this is the 49ers have always been a matchup nightmare for us. We could think back to 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game with Shanahan. He knows he's got the Packers number. We beat him this year, but that was, I think, like week 3 or 4. That has nothing to do with it. Jimmy G's been playing at a different type of level. It's going to be a good game, man. It's going to be really interesting to see how the Packers respond because they've been in this position for the last 3 straight years now. Not specifically the 1 seed, but they're hosting playoff games late in the playoff run, and then they have to set up to get to the Super Bowl, and they have not done that since 2010. And everybody knows it, and it hurts Packers fans. It hurts me. But it's going to be really interesting to see this week. I think the biggest X factor is going to be all the new guys coming back for the Packers because it makes me really nervous with some of the new guys, even though they're all pros. I mean, we're getting back almost 10 to – you're getting almost a whole side of the ball back when you're putting all the guys together. You're looking at probably 10 to 11 new players on both sides of the ball. They're going to be back in the mix that haven't been, some for the whole year, some for a month, whatever. That's hard to get playing time, the chemistry and all that back on track, even though they've had that when all those players were on the field before and they're veterans and good players.
Is
That's going to be the
Bakhtiari
biggest.
back?
Yeah, it's shaping up to be everybody that's been hurt this year is going to be back. Cobb's going to be back. Zadarius Smith's going to be back. Jair's going to play. Who else
Is Bakhtiari back?
Yeah, he's just load management because he played week 17. And then also Billy Turner's coming back, our other starting tackle. We're going to have 4 of our 5 linemen all back now. Our only 1 lineman's out for the year with a torn ACL. That's literally the only guy that we're not getting back. Whitley Merciless tore his bicep in like week 10 or 11, actually against no, it wasn't against those guys, but whatever. He's back too. I mean, there's just a lot of – it's going to help, obviously. I'm not saying that I don't want those guys back, but it's going to be an adjustment for these guys, for players to get the mix and just – obviously you can do it at practice. That's why I think the Packers bye was really big in that aspect to get those guys back in the routine and stuff. But it's going to come down – a lot of factors. We're going to have to see if Fred Warner and the Bosa, whatever their injury status is. That's a huge play in this game. Yeah. I mean, astronomical, massive. Maybe being a close game to the Packers blowing them out, in my opinion, even. That's how big this is with the Packers' healthy offensive line back. It's going to come down. The biggest thing is San Francisco's going to run the ball. We got a lot of guys at the middle. We got people back. I think our run D is going to be better than what I think people think or what it has shown. Not saying they're going to shut down the run game because Elijah Mitchell with Deebo Samuels, it speaks for itself. Everybody knows that. But it's Aaron Rodgers and Jimmy G. It just – there's a glaring what direction you're going to go. It's Aaron Rodgers. There's no debate with this. And Jimmy G is Jimmy G. He threw the pick. You can blame it on the thumb. You can blame it on his shoulder. It's going to be 0 degrees. Those injuries are going to feel way worse than what they have been the whole year. It's tough for you to put all your eggs in Jimmy G's basket and tell him go win the game at Lambeau on the road in the playoffs. Even if I'm not a Packers fan, that's really hard as a football guy to do that. So in that determination, Packers are hot. It's Aaron Rodgers. It's just a magical year, regardless if it's his last or if he comes back. I'm going to go with the Packers in this game, but it's going to be a good football game. It really is.
All right, so I lied to you. I told you weren't going to like what I had to say, obviously, as much as it pains me to say. I'll just lay it up front. I'm going to take the Packers in this matchup. And the reason being is because what I saw last week when they took on the Cowboys, and I got to actually sit back and watch
They didn't put
everything
them
that they
away. That
had.
game should have been done at half.
Exactly, and that's the one thing that you mentioned about Jimmy G is Jimmy G could single-handedly give you the game, single-handedly allow you to stay in the game, single-handedly throw an interception, fumble the ball. He's just that type of quarterback that is going to give you the game. I don't think he's a quarterback that can single-handedly put the game away. I don't think he can do that, and he didn't do it against Dallas. Dallas had 2 opportunities to go down and score at near the end of the game, and lost the game for themselves.
That pass to Brandon Ayuk was bad, man. Bad.
Terrible. And along with 14 or 15 penalties for almost 90 yards and penalties for Dallas, they single-handedly gave them that game. It was our game to win, and we just didn't show up. We weren't prepared. We didn't play. So the 49ers were able to escape with the W.
I would 100% disagree that was your game to win, but we can talk about that once we get these picks done in about 10 minutes.
Anyway, I'm taking the Packers single-handedly with Aaron Rodgers at the helm. I think they'll handle them. I really do.
And don't tell me that, because I'm thinking a 1-score game in the end of my. Because you gotta think like that, bro.
I'm not going 1-score game. I'm going 2-score game at least. I just don't think that the 49ers can do what they did. I don't think they can repeat it last week. And I wouldn't even say they played great last week, to be honest with you. They just played. We didn't play, and they played.
They showed up.
They showed up. We didn't show up is what it comes down to. And I think Green Bay is ready. I think Aaron Rodgers, a little bit more rest, having the week off.
Toes 100%.
Toe injury, yeah, he should be good. So I'm looking for Aaron Jones to be a big factor in this game. I think if he has a big game and it allows the passing game to open up a little bit more, create more opportunities for guys like Allen Lazard, Marquez, Vantlis, Scantling, whatever his name is. Randall Cobb, if he's coming back, he's always been an X factor for A-Rod. I just, regardless of the weapons that Jimmy G has and Kittle and Debo, I just think it's going to be too much. And Fred Warner and Joey, not Joey.
Even if they play, they won't be 100.
Is it Joe? It's not Joey.
It's Nick.
Nick.
But Nick's got the concussion. I think Fred's going to play because it's an ankle. He can tape it, play through the pain. But that's concussion. He's still got to get out of the protocol.
I think they'll both play.
But even regardless, they're not 100, and that's going to be
no, for sure.
That helps.
But them, just that it factor, having them on the football field could play a major role in what's going to happen in this game. But I'm taking the Packers. We can move on from that. I don't want to talk about them anymore. Nor do I want to talk about the Niners. Now we got the Los Angeles Rams traveling to Tampa Bay to take on the Tampa Bay Bucs. Kind of a rematch from earlier this regular season when we saw the Rams kind of put it on the Bucs and relatively blow them out. And you could say they had a good enough game against them to where Stafford was also balling at the beginning of the season, along with that offense in general.
Different, way different.
It is way different. Obviously, you saw the Rams going have the Cardinals travel to LA and just lay an egg. It almost was similar to watching the Cowboys-Niners game, except for the Rams didn't allow them to stay in the game. The Rams said, you know what, we're putting you away. You didn't show up. We're going to put you away. So they took advantage of that, which is what you should do, what a good team does. And I'm not taking anything away from the Rams. They're a good team. They just have lacked consistency. I've said the word so many times, but none of these teams are consistent in the NFL this year. In all reality, you got Green Bay, and that's about the team that you can say, and that's it. There's no other team in the league right now. And then I think Kansas City's kind of starting to float back into that territory.
But
but who knows? Yeah, you don't know. Everything is inconsistent right now, and the Rams offense could show up on Sunday or Saturday, whatever the day the game is. They could show up and go toe-to-toe. But here's my thing with this game. This is where I think the Rams could win. If the Bucs linemen are out, if Wirfs is out, if Jensen's out, the Rams D-line is going to eat Tom Brady alive. And if he can do that, if they can do that, they're going to stay in this ball game, and it's going to be up to Stafford. It's going to be Stafford's game to win, Stafford's game to lose. That's what it's going to come down to. Yeah. So, honestly, I've already rolled with the Bengals gamble. I'm rolling with the Rams gamble. I'm taking the Rams against the Bucs at Tampa. I think that D-line is going to be too much. Even if Wirfs plays, he's hurt. He's not 100. Jensen, another good lineman for them. I'm sure they got. I mean, the Bucs have other injuries outside of that too. And Fournette, I don't know if he'll play this week. Ronald Jones
He's
has
gonna
been
be
iffy,
close. He's gonna be close.
and Mike Evans is relatively always banged up on that team. Like they just got injuries across the board right now, and it might be too much to overcome too late in the season. And I think that Rams D line is going to be the X factor in this game. I'm rolling with the Rams to beat the Bucs in Tampa.
Man, I've really thought about this game probably the most out of all 4 matchups this weekend about who's gonna win. And before I get myself ahead of thinking one way or the other, Bryce made the biggest point of the week. It's going to be if Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen, or if any of them play. You got to have at least one of them. But if you have both, if you have your starting center and your starting left tackle, first team All Pro, Tristan Wirfs gone. I mean, you can't. If you get pressure on Tom Brady, that's how you beat him. That's been the only way that he's gotten beaten in his career is when you get consistent pressure in his face and make him uncomfortable. And if those linemen are gone, Von Miller, Leonard Floyd, Aaron Donald, all those guys on the D line are going to have an absolute field day. But they're going against Tom Brady. Dude, it gets me chills whenever I have to pick it. Whenever I get against Tom Brady, bro. And as a Packers fan, I want the Rams to win this game, even though the Rams are more talented. I don't want to see Tom Brady. I just don't want to see him in an NFC Championship game. It's Tom Brady. He's 44 years old. And he has a lot better argument than people give him credit for an MVP this year with some of the numbers he put up with the weapons they've lost down in Tampa Bay. Still think he's going to win it, should be, but Tom Brady's got a chip on his shoulder. Some people don't really talk about him. They got the injuries. Gronk's still there. Mike Evans is still there.
Yeah.
It is really hard for me to pick against them at home in the playoffs. But with their weapons out and their offensive line, regardless of their defense, I think they're getting Murphy Bunting back, one of their big DBs. I think he's going to play this week. He was close to playing this last week. But that goes all at the wayside. If you don't have Lyman and Chris Godwin,
Tom Brady's a pocket passer. He needs a pocket to be formed.
If you have pressure, the game is done. And in my opinion, that's why I'm going with the Rams to win this game, just because. And also, OBJ is going to have another day, in my opinion. He was looking very comfortable. Obviously, the Cardinals were another one of the postseason teams this last weekend that didn't show up at all. Just absolutely fell flat on their face. But OBJ, there was a consistent effort to get him the ball throughout that entire first half of the touchdowns and the passes across the middle and the yards. That touchdown catch of OBJ was just enjoying to watch as a football fan because he deserves it, in my opinion. The same amount of touchdowns he already has with the Rams is tied his total with the Browns. Insane. Big time matchup there. I'm going with the Rams in this one, but dude, it's Tom Brady.
Who knows?
You just don't know. You can't count out Tom Brady in the playoffs, man. He just won the Super Bowl last year at 43 years old.
Yeah.
Defending champs. You just can't. But I'm going to bet against Tom. Probably be wrong again in my life. But with those linemen, even being banged up, playing or not, that's just way too glaring for me to pick them.
I feel you on that. All right. It's hard to pick against Tom Brady, but we're both doing it. So
I still don't feel comfortable after talking.
No, I feel you on that. We'll see what happens, but let's roll into this Buffalo Bills at Kansas City Chiefs matchup. I think this is another intriguing matchup to look at. Can the Buffalo Bills finally get over the hump this year? Can they get over that Kansas City Chiefs hump? I don't think so. I'm not there yet. I don't know. I personally
you see what Josh Allen did in the sub 10 degree weather last week.
I know what Josh Allen can do. I know what Stephon Diggs can do, and I know they want to win this game. I know these guys are working tirelessly this week to get this W. I mean, I went back, saw a video of Stephon Diggs after they lost to the Chiefs last year, standing outside at Arrowhead watching and processing the whole understanding that they lost. The Bills couldn't do it again. Can they do it this year? I'm not ready to say yes. I don't know. I just think, okay, I'll say this. I'm not going to say I don't know if they will. But here's the biggest thing. If a Kansas City Chiefs offense shows up where Tyreek Hill is just everywhere, all over the field, mismatches being created, motions, pre-snap movement, I think the Bills are going to struggle to match up with this offense. But on the other hand, it's going to come down to a Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes duel. Whoever plays better, whoever's offense is flowing better, and obviously whoever gives up less points. I mean, you got to have the most points to win the ball game. So here's the thing. I just see Patrick Mahomes out dueling outdueling Josh Allen this week. I want the Bills to win. I personally do. I want them to win. So if they do win, forget my pick and forget me saying anything I said, because I'm more than happy to admit that the Bills won and they were ready, because I'd love to see it. I'm not a big Patrick Mahomes guy. Like, he's just growing into that.
Pick the Bills, man. You're saying everything to pick the Bills right now.
I just don't see it happening. That's why I can't pick them. I can't pick them because I don't think it's going to happen. Do I want it to happen? Yes. But I'm rolling with the Chiefs at Arrowhead to get a dub.
Going to school now for my third year in Missouri, being less than 2 hours away from Chiefs in the Red Kingdom. First year or two, it was all right. It was tolerable. It's getting really old now because and they've gone like this all year. So I can actually talk crap to Chiefs fans on my team and actually have something to back it up with now. But the biggest thing that you said, I agree with everything but one thing. And you said with the Tyreek Hill, the motions and all that, and you said if. How many times this year have they done that with their offense? Maybe a handful, 3-4 games, maybe. I mean, it's bad. It's just
here's the thing: defenses are also playing them differently, and I think they've gone away from that pre-snap motion quite a bit, and they're just that's what it was in the midseason when there was a Patrick Mahomes funk. The offense was not moving.
The biggest X factor in that offense is hands down Travis Kelce. I mean, the yards and all that, he's a matchup nightmare. That's going to be the biggest thing that goes through him. But you can't discredit what the Bills just did this last week. I saw a tweet from, I can't even remember. It was some NFL guy. But, I mean, he said that was probably the best cold weather performance you've ever seen out of a quarterback with Josh Allen's stat lines and how cold that game was.
He balled. It was fun to watch.
Dude, it was insane. And I said that before the game last week because I was caught up on even who to pick for that game at the time. But I was trusting Josh Allen and the Bills, and they showed up and exceeded expectations. And the biggest thing was that defense, their secondary. Micah Hyde and Poyer, those guys are ball hawks on the back end. That's going to be the biggest thing that the people aren't talking about is how that Buffalo D has been very steady and consistent. I think they're getting better now on that back end also, which is what you're going to have to do with those safeties and matchups. They're going to be good enough to go against Kelce in the secondary down the field on some reads. That's why I'm going with them. More so, I'm taking Allen and Mahomes in the matchup. I'm taking Josh Allen over Pat Mahomes, but I think that Chiefs defense has gotten better. They're not as atrocious as they were in the beginning of the year. But the Buffalo defense, obviously Mac Jones is not Patrick Mahomes. Shut him down. I don't think Mac Jones is going to do a whole lot more in the NFL. But besides that point, dude, they dominated on all that facets of the game up there. Obviously, but that was the best I've seen Buffalo play. Obviously, Pittsburgh came in there. Chiefs handled them. They did their job. But Buffalo was the wow factor that entire playoff weekend, in my opinion. And I think they're riding that hot streak, man, because they've had their ups and downs all year. The Chiefs haven't been the Chiefs. This is the best chance for the Bills to go in and beat the Chiefs in any playoff situation they've had before. And Dan Orlovsky said it best the other day on the Pat McAfee show. When the Chiefs and the Bills are both playing at the best games right now, all facets of the game, I'm taking the Bills. And I agree with him, and I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bills.
All right. Did my camera turn off?
I was fired up, dude. I was kind of just in the zone. Not gonna lie.
I was kicking my one of my.
I did see it move for a second. I think it refocused in and out, but that was it.
My block down there. I kicked it and everything turned off. I was worried my monitor kicked off, but I'm glad it didn't. So
that would have just fit the luck for this day, huh?
Yeah, it's not been a great day today with getting everything scheduled.
Good old technology. You gotta love it.
Yeah, one day it decides to be great, and the next it decides to be the worst thing on the planet. Either way, all right, so we had 4 matchups we went through. Gannon took the Titans, took the Packers, you took the Bucs. You took the Rams?
Yeah.
All right, I'm tweaking.
Remember with the whole line.
Rams,
I took the Rams, and then I took the Bills.
Rams, Bills. All right, and I took Bengals, Packers, Rams, and Chiefs. You
got a chance this week. You got 2 different ones. So this could either get ugly.
Get back into this. It could get ugly. You could take a big lead here, and we'll see what happens. But this week should be fun. Playoff matchups look pretty good this week. Another entertaining week of football. It's going to be tough for me to watch, just knowing and wondering and wishing if the Dallas Cowboys could still be in here. But
they're not. They're on the couch.
They are on the couch, and honestly, today does not really feel like a day where I want to sit back and argue that much about this.
I'm ready to go. I got everything pulled up. We can talk about Dallas Cowboys for the next 30 minutes if you want. You can just sit there and listen to the facts that I'm about to present if you really want me to listen to this. How about I just take this over? Let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys game this last weekend. why it was a complete other letdown of the entire Dallas Cowboys organization. Not because, and Bryce, before I break into this, Bryce understands that I have a respect and I like the Cowboys to a certain extent. So this is not me being a big Dallas Cowboys hater because Bryce is a Cowboys fan. This was me disappointed in some of their big-time players laying a complete egg on Sunday. It starts with Dak Prescott. I just don't – he's lost a lot of respect in me in the elite category eyes because you can't have 200 yards and 1 touchdown and a pick going into the fourth quarter of a home playoff game. You just can't do that. I don't care what's going on in the game. I just don't. CeeDee Lamb had 1 reception in the game, 22 or 24 yards. How? Ezekiel Elliott, banged up knee. Why is he even playing? He's got a lineman brace on his knee. If he's playing, he should be getting only a couple touches a game, and Tony Pollard should be your back that you're handing off to every single time to set up the play action and open up the downfield stuff for Dak. It's common sense. And some of the stuff is derived from Mike McCarthy. 100% agree with that because I've seen the same BS 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago in Green Bay. He doesn't change. He sticks to his same ways. But a lot of it comes down to the players. 15 penalties on the day. That's undisciplined on the players, right? Because how are you holding people? How are you blocking people in the back? They were glaring flags. That has nothing to do with coaching. Those are penalties that you would get called for when you're in 6th, 7th grade football that people have learned their entire lives. And it's really frustrating because it's not even the Cowboys that I get confused with. They have so much talent on the field and why it's not working. And what is the common denominator of all this? Because there's a lot of different things that you could say is a common denominator, and that's just all speculation. But then how do you go from that to Kellen Moore being interviewed for jobs, is my opinion. That's another topic we can get into also.
It is because Eric Bieniemy.
Because how do you want that inconsistency when you have – it's either who are you going to blame on that offense, Dak or Kellen Moore? Because it's one or the two. There's something that's not clicking there because Dak's getting paid $40 million a year.
Well, it's funny.
And that's not what you're paying for $40 million a year to the quarterback right there.
It's funny you're talking about Kellen Moore, talking about the offense in general, because Mike McCarthy just said he has no plans to take over the play calling duties if Kellen Moore leaves. He says, I don't think that's the best way to run an offense.
Good.
However, last night you saying some things.
So Kellen Moore is the official full-time play caller.
At the moment, yes, he was all year.
He has been the whole year. I wasn't 100% sure.
No,
so that makes it even worse. How the hell is he getting a head coaching opportunity with the inconsistencies of that offense?
Well, that's what I'm saying is I agree with that point because Eric Bieniemy from the Kansas City Chiefs, who has had good years, consistent good years with Mahomes, with the Chiefs offense, should obviously be getting more interviews than what Kellen Moore is getting. But that's an issue that we can get into for a whole episode to discuss. That's not it right now. So I went over last night. I kind of tweeted a little bit about what I want the Dallas Cowboys to do this offseason because I personally agree with the points you're making. I agree that Zeke was banged up and Pollard is our it factor. He should have been in the game way more. He showed what he could do on special teams. The man was flash. He was getting 30, 35 yards per kickoff return. It's ridiculous. And then he'd come in for 2 downs in a row and have a 12-yard run and then a 6-yard run, and then next thing you know, he'd be running back out.
They show him on the sidelines more than they do in the backfield. That's how much
ridiculous.
TV time he gets, bro.
Well, and the one point that I have with that pisses me off the most about Pollard, Zeke, is when Pollard was injured, Corey Clement came in and played, was the backup, and had 13 carries, 12 or 13 carries behind Zeke, and Pollard never eclipsed that all freaking year.
And they said that Zeke PCL was like the last month or 2 of the season with that big knee brace.
Where does it make sense? It doesn't make sense to me. Obviously, you can go into
that's
McCarthy.
Everybody. That's Jerry. That's the GM. That's Mike McCarthy. That's Kellen Moore. That's the player. That's why it's a whole letdown of an organization this weekend.
It is. I agree 100%. It is. And that's why this one I said on Twitter last night, this loss stings more than the last couple ones have because on paper we had a squad this year. This could have been a Super Bowl talent roster. Like, we had the talent. Hold on.
All right, get to it because I'm going to answer that point because that is not right, but we'll get to that.
Oh, we have a Super Bowl talent.
Yeah, on paper, but you guys had your best game of the year was against the Bucs, and you guys got beat. You didn't beat any good teams.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
No, that's what I'm saying, but on paper, that's all it was. That's why Cowboys fans get hyped because they didn't show anything on the body of work in games. They just didn't.
I don't know. I would argue the New England game.
They beat up on their division. It's the worst division of football.
I would still argue.
I'm just asking you. I'm not.
The New
England
game. Huh? The New England game. They're a tough team.
New England got beat by 40-some points first round of the playoffs. The Cardinals came in and beat them. They laid an egg in the playoffs.
No, I get that. But what I'm saying is,
they weren't ready to go for a Super Bowl run. Cowboys fans made them ready for a Super Bowl run.
Bro, I've been tweeting the last six weeks that we're not ready. I've been talking about our offense not being ready.
But you were saying that even a chance for the Super Bowl, you guys weren't even close. You guys made the playoffs, but you weren't close because there was the lack of inconsistency on the offense was the entire year.
It wasn't the entire year.
The inconsistencies was good one week, bad next week. It was good against the Giants. You put up 50. That's not a good week.
The inconsistency didn't start until after the Minnesota game where Dak sat out. Our offense through that week was good, very good.
That was at the end of September.
And you can't, necessarily talking about the Bucs game. I mean, granted, it was week 1 and we lost, but we went toe to toe with that team the entire game.
Yeah, that's why I said that was your best game of the year and it was a loss.
I get it. But let me
explain.
So what I was tweeting last night about what I want Dallas to do this offseason. Obviously, I got to look into it more when I decide that I'm done caring about the loss. However, the first order of business, obviously, is to figure out the coaching staff. Is Dan Quinn, is Kellen Moore leaving? The Dan Quinn loss to me is going to sting more. I love what he did with the Dallas defense, and I personally do not believe he's a head coach in this National Football League. I think he's a hell of a D coordinator.
Good coordinator.
And I think that's where he should stick. Obviously, he can make a hell of a lot more money being a head coach, and he's at the helm, and that's cool and all. And it's up to his personal life to depend on or decide what he wants to do with that. However, I really hope Dan Quinn stays, and I'm okay with Kellen Moore walking out the door. And at the beginning of the year, I was not. At the beginning of the year, I was hyping, praising Kellen Moore because we looked good, and suddenly the dip happened. And
get him out.
It is what it is.
That should have been a firing that took place pretty quick after that. He should have been fired after that offense and what they did, because that was a culmination of the last half of the year in that playoff game.
All right. Well, anyway, heading into the draft, obviously there's some glaring needs. The thing that makes me angry the most is Pro Football Focus, Pro Football whatever, PFF, ranks Dallas offensive line number 1 in the league. The Dallas Cowboys offensive line is a bottom 10 offensive line right now. A bottom 10, maybe bottom 5. It's awful. It's horrendous. Tyron Smith's not who he was. He's hurt all the time now. He's not that guy anymore. Zach Martin is your guy. Zach Martin's your guy. He's your cornerstone on foundation on that offensive line, and he's good still. He's great. The center's an issue. Biotish is an issue. Connor Williams, the left guard, is an issue. La'el Collins.
He's bad.
Yes. La'el Collins is somewhat of an issue. Had holding penalties.
He should be good, but he's been a liability as of late, dude.
Oh, my God. 3 out of our 5 offensive linemen were horrendous this year. And then throw in the coaching thing where they're flowing players in and out of the lineup every week with the offensive linemen juggling in and out every week. It made no sense. They're talking about continuity and plugging and playing the same guys, same 5, the best 5. But guess what? You didn't do it good enough. You allowed your offensive line to lack consistency, and they just went downwards throughout the rest of the year. So here's what I would like to see, round 1. I would love us to pick up Iowa's center. That's
Tyler Lindenbaum, baby.
That's who I would like to see them go grab. I think he's probably one of the best
linemen. Hall of
linemen.
Fame talent, dude, and I'm not throwing it out of the ballpark.
I legit think that he has a shot to be the best lineman in that class and take over what Travis Frederick was doing in Dallas. And that's what we need. We're missing Travis Frederick. If we cannot grab him, I would love to see Dallas get Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia, and pair him with Parsons. The speed, the closing speed.
What pick you guys got?
I think it's 24, 23.
Yeah, Lindenbaum's going to be top 10.
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Top 10 to top 15. He ain't falling to 20.
Well, I wouldn't be shocked to see Dallas trade up in this draft this year.
You would have to.
I wouldn't be shocked. Obviously I got to dive into the draft and learn more about it. I have not yet. What else? I said draft a couple O-line pieces along with the free agency piece and also look into possible trades. I would not be shocked if Tyron Smith retires this offseason either. He's been banged up on and off. And honestly, losing him, like we struggle when he's out, but like how much better has it gotten the last couple of years with him being in the lineup? It hasn't. I mean, all these Cowboys reporters love Tyron Smith, and that's cool and all, but he's not there anymore. He's not a generational talent anymore. He's gone. He's old. He's washed.
And the common denominator is personnel, man, because you just look directly at what the Packers did. They didn't have their whole 5 offensive linemen that they planned on day one starting. They didn't have those guys besides like the first or second game, and they picked up so many players off the market, and that just comes down to personnel in the front office not picking up the right guys, because you're going to hit on some people that you pick up off practice squads or linemen. There's enough out there, and it's doing your work. And again, there's accountability that needs to be held at higher levels, and also the players and coaches on the field.
100%. So the last 2 things I want to say about this offseason is there's a couple guys that I would re-sign if I'm Dallas. Obviously, we're strapped with money right now. Not a whole lot of wiggle room to make moves that need to be done in all reality. But I would like to see Dallas go out and re-sign Jaron Kearse. Was a bargain bin free agent that we signed last offseason and had a hell of a year as a safety guard and tight ends. He locked up Kelsey, locked up Kittle. He's been an it factor for our defense. He's played with a different mentality. It could. He definitely earned some more money this year. Randy Gregory, another guy that might cost us money. Someone's going to be willing to pay him, so we'll see what happens with that. I know he wants to come back. We'll see. Then I got Michael Gallup. As unfortunate as it is, I think with his injury, his money is going to shoot down, and you'll see a guy like Cedric Wilson get paid instead of Michael Gallup from a different team. But I wouldn't be shocked to see someone still take the risk. But then I would not be shocked to see Dallas re-sign him to a 1-year prove-it deal, give him another opportunity to go get his bag. So to see him back for another year, cheap deal, I wouldn't rule it out yet. And then I got him bringing back Brian Anger, our punter, who was all-pro this year, solid punter. I mean, he was averaging 40-plus yard punts, looked great all year. Obviously, that's going to be a cheap re-signing. I think it's important to bring him back, along with bringing back the long snapper, Jack McQuaid. Goes hand in hand with Brian Anger. You might as well bring him back. And then I got 2 or 3 more. Malik Hooker, I liked what he started doing towards the end of the season. I wasn't a big fan of DeMonte KZ. His routes at playing the safety position were not good. And Malik was finally coming on. I don't think he was played completely right throughout the year. For the most part, he was playing in the box, and he was making tackles. I'd like to see him become the ball hawk he was. That's who he is. He's a ball hawk. Let him roam the field. Let him chase down people. That would be relatively cheap because I don't think he did much this year. Carlos Watkins, D tackle. I think that'll be a cheap signing. Bring him back possibly. And then the last one is possibly Dorrance Armstrong. Had a decent year at the end. That'll be relatively cheap as well. So ultimately, the only ones that may cost us a big amount of money are the Kearse signing and Randy Gregory. Outside of that, I think all the other guys are possibly retainable. We'll see what happens. And then my last thing with this team is everyone is talking about how Dallas is going to cut Amari Cooper. And the reason being is because they haven't touched his contract. They haven't touched it. They haven't restructured it. They haven't approached him about restructuring or anything. And if he's cut, they save $16 million. So that's where it comes into a factor where
changes the complexion of your offense a lot.
And where I don't want it to happen because CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, none of them have proved that they could take over that 1. Amari is a 1. He's a clear-cut wide receiver 1. When he's getting involved in the game plan, he's a wide receiver 1. His routes are crisp. He makes great grabs. I'm not cutting Amari Cooper. If they cut him, it is what it is. Whatever. Hopefully we make a draft. We make a draft at the wide receiver position in the mid rounds. That would be nice. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about with the Cowboys right now. I want to do a full episode on Trayvon Diggs. We'll debate that then.
I was just about to say that. I would probably not show up for practice at 5:00 tonight if we got into Diggs. That needs to be a whole episode.
We can do that, but for now
we'll get that out soon to you guys.
Yeah. For now, I hope you guys appreciated this week's video. Good luck to your teams in the divisional round of the National Football League playoffs. Packers probably gonna get a W, so enjoy that.
I don't want to talk too much. I think that's bad juju. I'm gonna do the little stuff, a little smile, a little pointing. Go Pack, go. kind of keep it fair weather when I'm breaking down the game. Because if I go too one-sided, man,
You know
they lose.
what?
That's just
Before we stop this, I'm gonna go ahead and give you some bad juju because I know that Coach Schwelly on your baseball team does not like when Gannon talks about the Green Bay Packers. And I'm gonna go ahead and say the Green Bay Packers, they're gonna win by 3 scores.
It's funny you say that. It's funny you say that because actually we were recording this in the middle of the afternoon of the week of these games coming up, but I was eating lunch and he heard that I was doing a podcast and he goes, Ruckman, make sure you don't say too much about the Packers. I was like, hey, we're going to keep it nice and light. And I think I had a good mix. We gave the San Fran a little love today with their defense. It was a nice, calm, laid-back approach to this, and that's how I'm going to take
Schwelly, they're going to win
Saturday night.
They're going to win by 3 or 4 scores. I'm jinxing it for
Saturday
you.
night,
3 or 4 scores.
Start getting a little bit more fired up, and then there'll be more shouts and screams and maybe a few inexplicit words given out at the TV. But until then, we're going to keep it cool and calm and go Pack, go, baby.
All right. Well, now we got 2 playoff weeks of videos out. Hope you enjoyed this video. Gronk, spike that subscribe button for us, and we will catch you guys next week.